she's so fine. Hell of a blows my mind. Hell of a lights my day.
What's good, guys? This story is coming out of Chattanooga, Tennessee, and I want to thank Elisa for sending it to me. Chattanooga mother shot and killed as children sat beside her, court records say. A man shot and killed the mother of his 2 children as they sat beside her on the edge of their bed just after midnight on Good Friday, according to Hamilton County court records. The suspect, 20-year-old David Robinson, called Chattanooga Police at 12:03 a.m. and led officers to the upper floor of an apartment in the 2500 block of 6th Avenue. There, police found 21-year-old Iyanna Wells with a gunshot wound to the shoulder and a handgun lying nearby, court records state. She was taken to a local hospital where she later died. Investigators first spoke to Robinson at the police station. They noted he gave inconsistent statements about what occurred at the 6th Avenue home that night, according to the criminal affidavit. He first told investigators that he and Wells were, quote, playing with the gun, end quote, when it went off, court records state. Detectives asked him to explain that, and he told them he'd placed the gun on the bed when his daughter started reaching for it. So he picked up the gun and put it in his pants before pulling it back out. That's when he and Wells were, quote, talking shit, end quote, to each other, and, quote, the gun went off, end quote, he told police. Investigators then looked at body camera footage from first responding officers and noticed Robinson told them yet another version of the story. In that version, he told police he'd taken the gun out and was trying to take the safety off when it went off. Investigators then went to the crime scene and spoke to witnesses. 2 separate witnesses told police they heard Wells and Robinson arguing right before the shooting. Quote, they heard the victim yelling, help, and then heard a gunshot and silence after, end quote, investigators noted in the affidavit. The witnesses, plural, went on to say that Wells and Robinson had been arguing throughout the day and that Robinson had pulled his gun on her 2 separate times and had smacked her in the face at least once before pulling his gun on her. Detectives then went back to Robinson, and he admitted to pulling the gun on Wells 2 times before the shooting, but he, quote, was only joking around, end quote, he said, according to the criminal affidavit. Investigators asked him what changed the 3rd time to make the gun go off, and he said he didn't know, court records state. Quote, he described putting the gun in his pants and then pulling it back out at the point to point it at the victim, investigators noted. He stated she was sitting on the edge of the bed with each of her 2 small children sitting next to her on the bed when the gun went off, end quote. Robinson was charged with criminal homicide and 2 counts of felony reckless endangerment. Quote, Robinson shot and killed his children's mother while their 2 small children were sitting on either side of her, investigators wrote. And witnesses heard the victim calling for help before being shot, end quote. Robinson is also charged with unlawful possession of a weapon due to being under the legal age to carry a pistol, which is 21. Talk about having no respect at all for the mother of your children. That's what that's about. You have 0 respect for the mother of your children if you would do that to their mother while they're sitting there. And you don't respect your children either. Those children will be traumatized for the rest of their lives based off of his actions on that day. It just literally sickens me that now these children are going to have to pay for this their whole life because their dad is like he is. I hope they prosecute him to the fullest extent of the law. He deserves that. And I'm going to end the story on that note. Thanks for watching, guys.